Imagine a tomb so well hidden that it went untouched for 3,500 years. Nobody discovered it, no one stole from it. It remained completely sealed, buried beneath rocks and rubble. Not only did the ancient Egyptians bury this place, but they also took every precaution to prevent its discovery. Now that secret is about to come to light. We may finally reveal the tomb of Thutmose II, a king nearly erased from history, and along with it, secrets and treasures that have lain untouched since the day he was buried. For over a century, archaeologists have searched for Thutmose II's true burial site. A king of the 18th dynasty, he ruled during Egypt's Golden Age, yet history has left him in the shadows. Unlike his famous wife Hatshepsut or his powerful son Thutmose III, his reign was short and his legacy uncertain. Priests supposedly discovered his mummy in 1881, hiding it with other pharaohs in a secret chamber to protect them from grave robbers. However, there was a discrepancy. The body didn't match his age at the time of death. The coffin wasn't even his original one. Everything pointed to a disturbing possibility. The real Thutmose II was still out there, buried somewhere, waiting to be found. In 2022, archaeologists working in a remote desert valley discovered what they believed was his first tomb. It was far from the main royal burial grounds, tucked away in an isolated canyon. The tomb was a disaster, flooded, empty, stripped of treasures. There were, however, clues left behind. Fragments of alabaster jars bore the name of Thutmose II. Carvings mentioned his wife, Hatshepsut. Pottery and broken artifacts hinted at royal burials. Thieves had not abandoned the tomb. His body and belongings had been moved, possibly within just 6 years of his death. Under 23 meters of stone, ash, and limestone flakes, the answer lay hidden. Archaeologists discovered evidence of a second tomb, a massive, carefully hidden chamber beneath a mountain of debris. Time had not naturally buried this tomb. The very people who built it had sealed it. They had placed enormous slabs of rock, some the size of cars, above it. The walls of the valley had been cut away so that boulders would crash down, sealing it even further. Thick limestone plaster cemented everything in place. Someone had gone to incredible lengths to make sure this tomb stayed hidden. The reason for this extreme effort remains unknown. No other pharaoh's tomb was buried with such care. It was more than just an attempt to protect it from looters. It was as if the Egyptians wanted to erase it entirely from history. If this tomb is intact, it will be the first untouched royal tomb from the height of Egypt's power ever found. Unlike Tutankhamun's tomb, which had been looted in antiquity, this one could contain every artifact as it was originally placed. Thutmose II was a significant king, ruling over an empire at its peak. The riches and objects buried with him could surpass anything ever found before. These discoveries reveal that there is much more to the biblical story than you ever imagined. Truths that have been kept secret for centuries, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. And now, as old certainties are put to the test, finding clarity and understanding can completely redefine your faith journey. That's exactly what Forgotten Prophecies, the apocalyptic revelations that can change your future, offers. A path of guidance and wisdom through little explored biblical revelations, pointing to what really awaits us. This ebook delves deep into the prophecies and provides insights into tomorrow. And best of all, it's available for free. Click the link in the first comment and secure yours now before this opportunity is gone. More importantly, the discovery of his true mummy could be imminent. The body, on display in museums for over a century, might actually belong to someone else entirely. If Thutmose II is inside this sealed tomb, it could change what is known about his life, his death, and even the way pharaohs were honored after their passing. His preserved body could hold secrets that no text or carving has ever recorded. The excavation is delicate and dangerous. The rocks above the tomb are massive, unstable, and could collapse at any moment. Removing them must be done with extreme caution. A single miscalculation could bury the tomb forever. But archaeologists are already halfway through. In just weeks, the final layers will be removed, and the tomb, sealed for thousands of years, will be opened. In January 2023, headlines across the world lit up with excitement. The tomb of Pharaoh Thutmose II had finally been discovered. Egyptian officials claimed it was the first royal tomb found since Tutankhamun's in 1922. The media repeated it endlessly. It sounded grand, historic, another chapter in Egypt's epic story. But buried beneath those headlines was something just as powerful: a lie. The real discovery happened a year earlier, in 2022, during a joint Egyptian-British excavation in the western valley of Luxor. The lead archaeologist, Dr. Piers Litherland, had already published a detailed paper in Egyptian Archaeology magazine in 2023. The article, "Has the tomb of Thutmose II been found?" included maps, photographs, and excavation notes. Proof that this discovery wasn't sudden-breaking news. Remember, the ebook that reveals even more about these little-known prophecies is still available for download. But act quickly. Only a few copies remain. Don't miss out on the chance to discover what could revolutionize your understanding of the future. Since the early 20th century, dozens of royal tombs have been discovered in Egypt. In 1939, the intact tombs of several kings from the 21st and 22nd dynasties were found at Tanis, filled with gold and silver. In 2014, the tomb of Pharaoh Senebkai emerged in Abydos. In 2017, archaeologists unearthed a pyramid belonging to a royal princess in Dashur. These were all official royal burials. In 2025, the world learned that Thutmose II's tomb was the first significant royal discovery since 1922. The tomb that Litherland and his team uncovered, Tomb C4, located in Wadi C, was in devastating condition. Flooding over centuries had torn through its corridors and chambers. There was no treasure, no coffin, nobody. The floor was once white plastered. Fragments of a painted ceiling with golden stars clung to the dark stone above. However, those who placed the burial there, not looters, had stripped it bare, and they did it quickly. Traces remained. The chambers scattered pottery, ceramic lids, and stone vessels bearing the names of Thutmose II and Hatshepsut. Religious fragments, possibly from the Book of Amduat, hinted at a burial worthy of a pharaoh. And near the tomb, buried alongside a cow sacrifice, was an inscription that suggested something alarming. The tomb's contents were moved soon after burial. The body, labeled as Thutmose II, was found in 1881 in a secret royal cache at Deir el-Bahari. But forensic evidence now suggests the mummy was too old when he died. Thutmose II is believed to have died young, possibly in his late 20s or early 30s. The body we've shown in museums for generations doesn't match that age. Worse, the coffin is a substitute, likely made during the 21st or 22nd dynasty. The body inside it may not belong to Thutmose II at all. The man who ruled Egypt at the peak of its power, the one who passed his throne to the most militarily successful pharaoh in history. His body may still lie sealed inside a tomb that's never been touched by time, water, or human hands. That possibility changes everything. Unlike other pharaohs whose grave goods are scattered in museums and collections across the world, not a single artifact from the tomb of Thutmose II exists in any collection, public or private. The second tomb may have remained completely untouched since it was sealed. If that's true, it's a time capsule from 1450 BCE, buried not by nature but by design, and now it's beginning to stir. Don't forget that the gateway to these life-changing revelations is just a click away. Secure your copy of the ebook, Forgotten Prophecies, the apocalyptic revelations that can change your future. Now before it's too late. They are limited. Unearthing a royal tomb is never simple. It's not like opening a door and walking into the past. It's slow, methodical, and dangerous work. Especially when the entrance isn't marked, the structure is buried deep underground, and the tomb itself was built to stay hidden. That's the challenge faced by the archaeologists working in Wadi C, just 2.5 kilometers from the famous Valley of the Kings. What they're trying to reach lies buried beneath 23 meters of rock, rubble, and layers of ancient debris packed so tightly it might as well be concrete. Unlike casual digs, this excavation isn't about sifting through sand or dusting off pottery fragments. The debris above this possible tomb includes slabs the size of dining tables and boulders weighing several tons. Time did not scatter these randomly. The ancient builders intentionally placed them there. They reshaped the cliffs and dropped massive stones from above to seal the tomb. That requires more than tools. It takes vision, patience, and resilience. Each layer removed is a risk. A single shift could bring down a wall of stone. Every crack exposed could mean collapse. The excavation is being done largely by hand. No bulldozers. No machines. Individuals labored diligently, examining each stone as if it were a narrative, with the hope that it would lead to a potential opening. This kind of work can take years. And yet, the team has made remarkable progress. They're already halfway through the artificial mound. What lies beneath could be one of Egypt's last undisturbed royal tombs, but getting there is only part of the challenge. Once the entrance is exposed, there's no room for error. Ancient tombs are delicate ecosystems. Even a small change in light, air, or moisture can damage what's inside. Wall paintings, papyrus, scrolls, wooden coffins, materials that have survived for millennia, can crumble in seconds if disturbed too quickly. You must plan every move inside the tomb. Even the act of opening the door could trigger decay. That's why the persistence of this team matters so much. They're not rushing for headlines. They're not trying to be the first with a camera inside. They're trying to protect a chapter of human history that has been locked away for thousands of years. If this is Thutmose II's final tomb, what they uncover could provide details about royal funerals, burial customs, religious beliefs, and daily life in ancient Egypt that no book or museum display has ever captured. Don't miss out on the opportunity to secure your free ebook, packed with never-before-seen revelations. Act now. There are only a few copies left to uncover the mysteries that await you. People often portray archaeology as glamorous, filled with treasure hunts and unexpected surprises. You follow clues, sometimes for years, and most of the time you find only fragments. But every once in a while, persistence reveals something complete, something untouched. It's also about respect. Respect is owed to those who came before, who built and buried these places with significance. The team isn't just digging for answers. They're uncovering intentions, decoding symbols, and tracing the decisions made by people who lived 35 centuries ago. Every find, every artifact, is part of a conversation with the past, and this persistence is starting to pay off. The team believes there could be a chamber, sealed and untouched. The chamber could potentially house the body of a pharaoh, encircled by his original grave goods, which include ritual objects, personal belongings, and sacred texts. No other tomb from this period has been found in such a state. Most were looted centuries ago. Floods, earthquakes, or the passage of time destroyed others. But this one, buried intentionally and protected by its own camouflage, has a real chance of being whole. Most pharaohs from Egypt's powerful 18th dynasty were buried in a famous place called the Valley of the Kings. That's where you'll find the tombs of great rulers like Tutankhamun, Hatshepsut, and Thutmose III. It was the royal cemetery of Egypt's golden age. So when archaeologists found what they believed to be the original tomb of Thutmose II, far outside the Valley of the Kings, in a remote, dry wadi, a desert valley, it confused everyone. This strange choice of location has led to many theories. One idea is that Thutmose II's tomb was never meant to be hidden from the others. Maybe it was supposed to be temporary. Some experts believe the burial site was chosen quickly, possibly because the king died suddenly. There may not have been time to finish a grand tomb in the usual place, so they used what was available in the moment. Others think politics or religion might have played a role. Thutmose II ruled during a very complex time. He was surrounded by powerful figures, including his wife Hatshepsut, who later became pharaoh herself. It's possible that after his death, decisions about where to bury him were influenced by power struggles behind the scenes. Another theory suggests the tomb's remote spot was chosen on purpose to protect the burial from grave robbers. Tomb robbery was a serious problem in ancient Egypt. Over time, almost every royal tomb was broken into. Valuable items were stolen. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. Bodies were moved. Sacred objects were destroyed. By placing the tomb far from the other royal burials, it may have been an attempt to keep Thutmose II safe from looters. But if that was the goal, it didn't quite work out. This sudden flooding changed everything. It seems that the people responsible for the tomb, possibly Hatshepsut herself, decided they had to act fast. They removed the mummy and all the funerary goods. It wasn't theft, it was a rescue. They may have quickly arranged for a second tomb to be prepared. They would have built this second tomb with greater care, potentially in a better location, somewhere less prone to flooding. But unlike the first tomb, which was later rediscovered by archaeologists, the second one remains hidden. Another strange detail adds to the mystery. The mummy that was believed to be Thutmose II, discovered in 1881 in a secret chamber with other royal bodies, doesn't match what we know about the king. Ancient records say Thutmose II died young, but the mummy is clearly of an older man. The coffin it came in wasn't original either. This has led some experts to believe that we have never found the real mummy of Thutmose II. That brings us to today. A group of archaeologists believes they've found the location of the king's second tomb. This discovery was made not by chance, but by meticulously examining the surrounding landscape and considering how the ancient Egyptians might have concealed something of such significance. Their research points to a structure buried under more than 20 meters of rock, rubble, and plaster, packed tightly to look like part of the mountain itself. The collapse wasn't a random landslide. Ancient builders intended it to vanish completely. If the second tomb is real and still untouched, it could be the most important archaeological discovery in 100 years. Inside, there could be treasures that were meant to follow the king into eternity. Statues, scrolls, jewelry, weapons, and tools, all sealed away since around 1450 BCE. And most importantly, it could finally contain the real mummy of Thutmose. The task at hand is not just a matter of archaeology. It's not simply about finding another mummy or cataloging another artifact. This tale is about rediscovering a life, one that history forgot, one that was buried with such care and precision that even time itself almost lost it. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. The man at the center of this story was once Pharaoh of Egypt, ruler of the world's greatest ancient civilization. Yet, for reasons still unclear, his name was dimmed, his tomb abandoned, and his legacy swallowed by the silence of the desert. His tomb, believed to be his, was located far from the resting places of other kings of his dynasty. While most were buried in the Valley of the Kings, a place carved out for royalty, his grave was found in Wadi Sea, an isolated ravine 2.5 kilometers away. The discovery confused many. If you're enjoying this story, consider hitting super thanks. Your support helps us keep uncovering powerful stories like this and bringing the past back to life, one mystery at a time. Despite its authenticity, the tomb was in a state of ruin. The tomb was flooded, damaged, and stripped bare. No treasure, nobody. There were only traces left behind, including vessels bearing his name, fragments of decoration, and an enigmatic inscription buried nearby. All of it hinted that the king had once been buried there and then moved. The people who initially buried him were the ones who moved him, not thieves. They were on a mission to save his life. It is a silent retreat from the destruction of nature. Archaeologists now believe a second tomb was built, a place safer, stronger, and hidden so thoroughly that even time itself couldn't touch it. It was not merely hidden by distance, but deliberately concealed. There were over 23 meters of limestone flakes, ash and rubble piled atop it. They poured plaster to cement everything in place. They carved the valley cliffs so that boulders would fall and crush any open entrance. What lies beneath is not an accident of nature. It's a construction of fear, reverence, or both. Think about that. Every cup, every necklace, every amulet placed inside that tomb might still be there. The king's original coffin remains intact. The inscription served as a guide for his soul in the afterlife. Even his body, preserved in the darkness, could be lying in wait. And the discussion isn't just about objects. This endeavor is about changing what we know. Finding Thutmose II, where we believe him to be, would rewrite part of Egypt's royal story. This confirms the misidentification of the mummy long assumed to be his. It may offer clues about his death, his illness, or even what life at the pharaoh's court was really like. It could bring clarity to the relationship between him and his wife, Hatshepsut, who would go on to rule as king in her own right. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.